and archaeologists found more than 100 mummies at a site in Egypt, which were not human mummies, but crocodile mummies. On the coffins of these crocodile mummies, there was some writing, which, after being read and understood, left the experts astonished and perplexed. Welcome once again to Discover TV's videos. Ladies and gentlemen, thousands of years ago, after being preserved, mummies were decorated according to their status or position, and then buried either underground or in a tomb. Although archaeologists have found many mummies in Egypt, today we will talk about 7 mummies that, when first discovered, were hard for experts and archaeologists to believe. Let's begin with number 7. Lady. One of the oldest mummies in ancient Egypt is a woman whose mummy was found about 140 years ago in the area of Thab tomb in Egypt, which astonished archaeologists. Upon investigation, it was revealed that Lady Ra had died at the age of around 35, about 3,550 years ago. Initially, it seemed she might have been a nurse or maid of some ancient queen. However, what astonished archaeologists were Lady Ra's hair. Despite thousands of years passing, her hair was still well preserved. Some parts of her hair looked as if they had been cut only a few months ago. The hairstyle with which Lady Ra was preserved still remains intact to this day. Number 6. Ramesses II was the most famous ruler of ancient Egypt. Compared to other Egyptian pharaohs, Ramesses II ruled for an exceptionally long time, and when he passed away, he was 90 years old. His mummy was discovered in 1881 in the village of Saqqara, which was a place only used by ancient royalty. The archaeologists who discovered the mummy stated that, just as Ramesses II had been powerful during his reign, even after thousands of years, his mummy still looked powerful. The exact number of children Ramesses had is unknown, but research and DNA tests revealed that he had fathered 150 children. In 1974, it was noticed that his mummy was decaying, and a decision was made to take it to Paris for treatment. However, according to international rules, whether living or dead, a passport is required to cross borders. Therefore, Egypt issued a passport for Ramesses II, granting him the title of king. This was the world's first passport issued to a deceased person. When the mummy arrived in Paris, it was honored with full military respect.
Number 5. Tutankhamun, or King Tut, was a pharaoh whose discovery not only surprised those who found it, but also left archaeologists worldwide astonished. His mummy was found in a room 20 feet underground in the Valley of the Kings, along with an enormous treasure. This is why Tutankhamun's mummy shocked the world. King Tut, who died at just 19, had been thought to be surrounded by spirits and deities that protected his mummy and treasure. Lord Carnarvon, the man who funded the excavation of Tutankhamun's tomb, tragically died just days after the mummy was discovered, allegedly from a mosquito bite. Number 4. Crocodile Mummies. When archaeologists were looking for ancient mummies or buried treasures at a site in Egypt, their expectations were dashed when they found not just 1 or 2, but more than 100 mummies that were not human but crocodile mummies. These crocodiles, preserved with great skill, puzzled archaeologists at first as they could not understand why crocodiles, instead of humans, were being preserved. Later, inscriptions found on the coffins provided an answer. The ancient Egyptians worshipped crocodiles, considering them symbols of strength. In that ancient era, they also made statues with crocodile heads and human bodies. Number 3. Gazelle Mummies. Crocodiles were not the only animals whose mummies were found in Egypt. Archaeologists also discovered several gazelle mummies. The gazelle mummy you're looking at is about 3,000 years old, and it seems it was a pet of a queen. When archaeologists uncovered this gazelle, they were astonished to find it had been preserved and buried with the same royal style and dignity as kings and queens. Number 2. Mud Mummy. The ancient Egyptians used a special chemical from a plant called resin to preserve human bodies, which was expensive and only affordable by the wealthy. Most of the mummies discovered had resin applied to them, preventing their bodies from decaying. However, Australian archaeologists were shocked when they found a mummy covered not in resin but in mud. This mummy, a woman who had died at around 25, was covered in mud placed long after her death, raising questions as to why this was done. Number 1. Mummy with tattoos. In the modern era, getting tattoos is seen as a fashion, but in ancient times, tattoos had great significance. In the area of Dar al-Madina in Egypt, archaeologists found 7 mummies of women who had tattoos on their bodies. One mummy had more than 30 tattoos. Archaeologists stated that they had never seen tattoos on mummies before, but after this discovery, it can be said that the ancient Egyptians were not just master tomb decorators, but also adorned their mummies with tattoos. Perhaps these women were wall artists involved in decorating tombs in the Valley of Kings. We hope you will like and share this video from Discover TV. Thank you for your kind comments, and we will meet in the next incredible video.